The future is not something we wait for. It is something we design, choice by choice, action by action. Each technological advance, each leap in thinking is a declaration of a new dimension for humanity. The question is no longer, can it be done? But rather, is it worth doing? This video is a strategic map, guiding you through fear, through counterintuitive logic, through the action-driven philosophy of those who refuse to stand still when movement is possible. More than a lesson on innovation. Part 1. Shaping the future from the root of thought. Great dreams don't change the world. Simple questions do. Is this useful? Future-shaping thinking doesn't begin with the expectation of making history, but with the intention of delivering real value to others. It is a journey that starts with small acts carrying wide-reaching influence. When you create something useful for society, be it a game or a photo-sharing utility, it is still worthy. Value lies not in the scale of an idea, but in the depth of its impact. Whether something is worth doing shouldn't be judged by emotion or enthusiasm alone. It is quantified by logical thinking, the degree of improvement a solution brings, multiplied by the number of people who benefit. A small improvement can become monumental if it touches millions. Conversely, a breakthrough that helps only a few might have similar value. This is the philosophy of area under the value curve. It helps define where action should focus and clarifies. What matters is not how loud it is, but how useful it is. This way of thinking opens a new era of intelligent action. Young people seeking purpose don't need to become the next great icon. They only need to ask, what can I do to double the value for double the number of people? The world doesn't need more symbols. It needs people who can accurately and consistently measure their impact. Starting with humility, a mindset of usefulness unlocks the door to an extraordinary journey. Simple, but powerful. Future-oriented thinking is not the privilege of geniuses. It's a skill that can be learned, applied, and used to inspire millions. When value becomes the metric instead of emotion or fame, society becomes less chaotic, replaced by a focused current of useful individuals, those who, even silently, still change the world. That's where right thinking gives birth to right action, and right action builds the right future. Part 2. Technology strategy with a humanity-centered direction. Some problems are not just topical, they are existential. As humanity faces the future, not all fields carry equal weight. Some technologies don't just change habits, they redefine the destiny of our species. That's why we need a system of strategic priorities, where impact is not measured by short-term profit, but by the ability to sustain life and long-term development for humanity. There are 5 pillars of technology chosen not because they are easy, but because the cost of not pursuing them would be immense. The first is artificial intelligence, a force that could elevate humanity to superintelligence, but could also lead to absolute control if concentrated in the hands of a few. Democratizing AI is a life or death principle. No one should hold absolute power. AI must be governed not just by ethics, but by social design. Technological decentralization is a matter of survival. The second pillar is genetic technology. Hidden within our genetic structure are recurring pains passed down through generations. Rewriting the genetic code to prevent Alzheimer's, mutations, and terminal illnesses is how humanity actively rewrites its own biological destiny. This is not just treatment, it is a proactive evolutionary leap. When humans master genetics, we are rewriting the rules of natural selection with intelligence. The third is brain-machine interfaces. Currently, the bandwidth between the human brain and digital systems is extremely low. Humans have superior thinking but transmit it too slowly. High-speed connections between thoughts and machines will turn imagination into actionable capability. This is not science fiction. It's a necessary condition to maintain human control in the age of AI. Those who fail to accelerate communication will be left behind. The fourth is sustainable energy. There is no second planet for trial and error. Transitioning from fossil fuels to clean energy is not a choice. It is a mandate of the era. Every other technological advancement becomes meaningless if Earth can no longer sustain life. This is the foundation of all future technologies. We cannot build homes on sand. We must build on sustainable, stable energy sources. The final pillar is interplanetary living capability. When a species lives on only one planet, it's placing its entire bet on a single die. If the conditions vanish, through war, meteor strikes, or climate change, an entire civilization could be wiped out. Establishing a second system of life is not a sci-fi dream. It is life's insurance policy. Multiplanetary existence is the boldest survival philosophy humanity has ever proposed. Part 3. The breakthrough is in the timing. In every innovation journey, timing is a form of powerful leverage. Some ideas are right but come at the wrong time and forever remain in the drawers of history. Conversely, some actions may not be extraordinary, but when executed at the right cycle during the exact inflection point, they unleash unstoppable momentum. Timing is the amplifier. It is the catalyst that turns ideas into reality at the speed of light. In technology, especially in rapidly changing sectors, recognizing tipping points is a survival skill. Choosing to pivot when the internet began to accelerate, rather than continuing down a purely academic path, is proof that timing can outweigh titles. This is not reckless trade-off, but strategic decision-making. When a technological trend reaches its tipping point, every timely effort yields exponential returns. The breakthrough doesn't lie in the technology itself, but in the convergence of technology and social demand. When both reach maturity, the quick actors lead. The rest merely follow. Therefore, it is crucial to have a sensitive radar to detect these shifts, and the courage not to wait for perfect readiness. Those who wait until they're 100% certain will never step into the arena of innovation. Perfect timing doesn't appear by accident. It is the result of observation, experimentation, failure, and quick reflexes. The people who lead technological revolutions are not just talented, they are fast. Fast in perception, fast in response, and especially fast in action. To seize the moment, you cannot depend on circumstances. You must take control and bend circumstances to serve your goals. That is breakthrough thinking. It is the art of decisive action. Part 4. Managing fear and the capacity to act. There is no journey of building the future that doesn't pass through the land of fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of being ridiculed. But what separates those who create major shifts from the rest is not the absence of fear. It is their ability to redirect that emotion into fuel for action. When what you're pursuing matters enough, fear is no longer a barrier. It becomes a signal that you are on the right path. Future builders don't try to eliminate fear. They learn to make decisions alongside it. They don't wait to act until they feel ready. They act with the understanding that waiting for certainty is the biggest trap. They assess risk not through instinct, but through probability. If the chance of success is only 10%, but the value created is transformative, it's still a bet worth making. That is probabilistic thinking, a form of courage built on reason. This is also where fatalism, when applied correctly, becomes a powerful psychological tool. Not as a surrender to fate, but as an acceptance that some factors are beyond control. When that is accepted, the mind becomes free. Free from perfectionism, free from the pressure to win immediately. And from there, energy is focused on the one thing that can be controlled, action in the present moment. This is not a constraint, it is liberation for progress. Fatalism, when rightly understood, doesn't kill motivation, it restructures inner strength. It helps people stay calm in adversity and brave enough to continue even when failure seems inevitable. In an age where innovation is urgent, the ability to rise from failure and keep moving forward is one of the rarest human capabilities. And it is exactly this resilience that bridges the gap between vision and tangible results. Part 5. Lessons from history. Technology doesn't progress on its own. There is a dangerous misconception in modern society that technology will automatically advance over time. History proves the opposite. Civilizations that once reached technological heights, from the Egyptian pyramids to Rome's roads and irrigation systems, eventually forgot the very marvels they created. When motivation fades, intellect fades with it. Technology is the crystallization of human effort. It doesn't have a perpetual motion engine. Without bold and persistent minds, all progress can be undone. In aerospace, there was once a time when humanity could reach the moon. But then we stopped and regressed in capability. This isn't the law of development, it's the consequence of complacency. Progress is not self-sustaining. It must be protected, nurtured, and driven forward. This demands individuals who are willing to work to the limits and even accept risk to push the boundaries of advancement bit by bit. The dreamers who never stop acting are the final stronghold protecting humanity from the spiral of decline. And they deserve to be called the guardians of the future. Part 6. The architecture of an inclusive future. One of the greatest questions of the technological age is, who will control artificial intelligence? If this power falls into the hands of a single group, nation, or organization, humanity risks losing its freedom. The answer doesn't lie in stopping AI, but in expanding access so that technology becomes a shared asset, not a tool of the few. Democratizing AI is not just a political statement. It is a system design principle. The greater the power, the more distributed the control must be. When everyone can access and interact with AI, the risk of domination decreases. But to achieve this, we need a foundation, a direct bridge between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. That bridge is the neural interface. The integration of the human brain with digital intelligence will allow people not only to interact with technology, but to merge with it. No longer will we be users limited by keyboards or language. We will become extended entities, where thoughts instantly translate into digital actions. This isn't a futuristic fantasy. It's a survival design to maintain human agency in the age of artificial superintelligence. If every person can access an enhanced version of themselves, with superior speed, memory, and logical capacity, then society will shift into a new form. A system where humans and technology no longer confront each other, but collaborate. Not in competition, but in symbiosis. This is the only viable architectural model of the future that can preserve the balance between power and human dignity. And that is why it must be built, starting today. Part 7. Focus and true role. Focus is not about giving speeches or making a public impression. Focus is how one chooses where to truly be present every day. And that place is not the stage, it's the design lab, the factory floor, or the heart of the production line. Nearly 80% of time is spent on engineering, from engines and batteries to software and the design of every robotic arm in the assembly line. This is not a symbolic role, it is full-on immersion. This is also a declaration of life. The true role of a creator is not in administrative management, but in how deeply they understand and influence every detail. When a leader is present at the technical core, the entire organization orients around a spirit of action, where decisions come not from reports, but from real-world understanding. Technical precision is the ethics of innovation, and only when the leader is rooted in physical reality can the organization stay on course. The guiding core belief behind every effort. The machine that builds machines is the most important thing. The factory is not just a production site. It is the nervous system of innovation. Every advancement in the production system becomes a multiplier of impact. Designing a product is difficult, but designing a machine that can produce millions of products with consistent quality, that is the pinnacle. It is not only a technical feat, but a systemic vision. Part 8. The usefulness formula and call to action. There is a simple yet powerful formula to determine what is worth doing. Take the degree of improvement a solution brings and multiply it by the number of people who benefit. If the result is large enough, do it. If not, change direction. This isn't just a decision-making tool, it's a compass to navigate life's meaning. In an age overwhelmed by information, the real impact index becomes the guiding light. You don't need to be a genius or have an advanced degree. What you need is commitment to value. Start with something useful, no matter how small. Each correct action adds up to a greater movement. The world doesn't lack dreamers. But what the world needs more of are people who turn dreams into value-based equations. If you're searching for an answer to what you should do with your life, begin with this question: who benefits from what I'm doing, and how many of them will be thankful for it? You have just gone through blocks of thought that are not easy to digest, where technology is no longer a tool, but a destiny programmed by human choices. Each line of analysis here is not meant to convince you to believe, but to force you to think about what is worth doing and what is worth pursuing to the end. Perhaps you resonate with a philosophy of usefulness. Perhaps you are skeptical of AI, or driven by the idea of a machine that creates machines. Whatever it is, if some part of you continues to respond after the video ends, then the future, at least within you, is still in motion. and movement is where all change begins. Thank you for watching the whole video. Please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos.